All right. So I had a gay dad growing up. He came out of the closet when I was 13. And I watched his life and his experience straight to the point of his death. And I have some thoughts on it and some opinions, some experience. And I just want to convey that as it relates to, life in general and some principles, I guess, and also organized religion. Specifically for me, it was the Mormon Church, and for him as well. I know it's not Mormon Church anymore. They've rebranded to something else, but back then it was the Mormon Church. But it's same stuff, same issues today. And this is not a bashing session on the Mormon Church. I have a strong heritage with that. I think it had a place in my history, my family's history. I have my own history. It is what it is. And I'm conveying experience more than strong opinions, although I do have some opinions on it. And how could I not, right? I get to have those. But largely not negative. I think, you can usurp good from anything. I see people go to AA meetings. They're like, oh, they talk about this, they talk about that, and it made me uncomfortable, and made me want to relapse. And, so it's easy to be a critic in anything. Anyone can do that. To go into something and pull out positives and things that can help you, that is unique, and that's what I try to do. So I think that the Mormon Church, that culture, has just a ton of great things to offer. I also think there are certain dangers that come along with it, very credible dangers, and at least, things that you need to be aware of, and then you can better navigate around that and see what's best for you. Maybe take the best, good parts of that if you choose to participate in that or any other organized religion, and, take the good from 12-step programs as well, and maybe just form your own little hybrid that works for you. But specifically as it relates to homosexuality, being gay, Mormon Church, it was an awful, awful, horrible experience for my dad. I believe it helped attribute to his death. And I'm not blaming, guilt, shame, or the Mormon Church, or all three, for his choices and giving him, a free ride on that. But I do think it was a challenge for him. There's no doubt about it. So, he at a young age knew that he had gay tendencies. His father and he did not have a very close relationship, and my dad never knew if it was, nature or nurture, similar to me with alcoholism. I don't know why I drank the way I did. I have my beliefs, like maybe tied to my childhood, my horrible childhood, and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. It really doesn't matter. And that's where he kind of settled. It doesn't matter whether it was scientific reasons that he and others are gay, or, the void between his relationship with his father. So he, craved this male presence to fill that void. That's another possibility. At a certain point, oh, well, we could debate that all day. It is what it is. So early age, he had those tendencies, right? You're led to believe inside the confines of the Mormon Church and other organized religions that homosexuality is horrible. I mean, even, geez, in the Middle East, you get killed for this stuff, right? So, like next to murder. Same with fornication and premarital sex and adultery and things like this. They're classified as these horrible, horrible, horrible things, which I do think that they can be very, very dangerous. Promiscuous sex has massive consequences, and adultery, cheating on someone, so I get it. The principle is there, but I think sometimes the way it gets conveyed inside organized religion can really reside in these very, very low destructive vibrations. Shame and guilt, I think, are necessary, but to reside there for too long and really harp on it and then start telling people that what they are experiencing as people and who they believe themselves to be, as they're trying to discover what their sexuality is and who they are, and saying, oh, that's about as bad as being a murderer. You're right there, just for being and feeling that way. Man, I mean, that's horrible. And so that's what he was raised with, and it's no surprise to me that by the time he tries to do everything right with family and with kids and being straight, that by the time he just finally realizes, look, screw this, man, I'm gay. I'm going to be gay. I'm going to go out and do my gay stuff. By the time that comes, I think he was 37, it felt so good to go out and drink and to drug and to escape this human experience, which was awful, was miserable most of his life. You know, like, how great that must have felt to him to get that. And obviously drugs and alcohol will turn on you and destroy you, which is what happened with him. And, you know, long story in between there as far as our interaction. I can't go into all that. But here's the point I think I'm trying to make. If you are gay, or if you have a family member that's gay, diving into the Mormon church for some sort of a solution to that is I would say, don't do that. I would strongly advise you not to do that. That is, once you get deep down into the layers of that, what it is it's going to be an effort to get you to not be gay, to the underlying message is that it's wrong. And I couldn't, now that I have children of my own, I would never in a million years look at one of my kids who confided in me that they may have an attraction to the same sex, and for me to say, well, that's wrong, let's do what we can to get you out of that. It's not necessarily a challenge that I wish upon them or myself, and neither one of my children indicate or have any indicators that that's the case. And honestly, I'm relieved about that. It's just one less thing that we have to try to sift through together. But that's what we would do. We would address it together. I would never in a million years tell them that there's something wrong with them because they are opening up to me about that. And the last thing I'd want them to do is to bury it deep inside and not tell anybody and feel like there's something wrong with them, that they're dirty, that they're bad, that, you know, here's the thing. We all have our things to deal with. You know, what red-blooded male wouldn't want to go out and just have rampant, you know, promiscuous sex with, you know, 50 different women? That's kind of the caveman instinct that we have, but it's best that you don't do that, right? It's not a path that makes sense. So what I care, if you are gay and if you choose to have a same-sex partner, just be a good person, be loyal, be humble, be honest, act with integrity, communicate well. We all have to do the same shit. We all have to abide by the same rules in order to obtain a state of peace and happiness and connection with God. Once you start throwing additional unnecessary layers of shame and guilt on top of that, this underlying belief that there's something inherently wrong with you at your core, I just don't see how that benefits you or helps the situation or makes the world a better place. And so until the Mormon church and other organized religions, or any other group for that matter, until they can develop some flexibility in this area and say, you know, figure out a way to work with the person to help them find a state of being that is peaceful, genuinely peaceful. And if their truth is that they find happiness with the same sex, okay, maybe that's something they need to work through. Maybe that's something that they are. And that we need to change as a cumulative, as a person, as a, you know, well, that's wrong and we'll find a way to get you out of it. I don't know. I do know. I wouldn't do that to my kids. I don't know why the church did that, and maybe I believe they still are. I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to bash on the church. I see that they're adapting into a lot of different areas that make sense for the way the world is. But, you know, they do struggle with it because it's an archaic legacy belief system. There's very specific doctrines, and trying to get in there and modify these things as it relates to, you know, sexual preference, ethnicities, race. I mean, there was there were things with black people that they had to adjust not too long ago. And I definitely do not believe the Mormon church is racist. They're just not the case at all. But they've had to modify certain principles that in the early 1800s made sense, but today they just don't. And this is one of those areas, right? So, again, like, there's a reason I'm bringing this up. I guess it's been on the back of my mind. I have a recent experience with a sponsee that I see intertwining, you know, with the Mormon church and, you know, some other like issues along these lines. And it sparked the idea that I should touch on this in a video. So not all things are bad in the church. I'll wrap it up here. I I do think you can gain some good, but you've got to go in there realizing not every single thing that is going to be told to you is truth. My experience with the Mormon Church is they are very limited on what they can offer in true beneficial change, if that's what you want. If you want change, if you're struggling with a deep, dark place, if your life is unmanageable, the 12-step program, the one outside of the church, is the most effective means to getting you to a healthy place. Once you're there, once you've been able to be honest with only good consequences, see, that's the thing about the 12-step program. Being brutally honest will result in positive consequences. You go to the church as an active member, when you own a business or have a career and your network of people, and you slip up on something, you go in and tell the bishop and become totally honest about it, there could be some negative consequences to your life as a result. So it creates this culture of kind of dishonesty and secrets, and that's very dangerous. That creates a whole lot of other problems for another video. 12-step program, you're going to be able to get that stuff out, be honest with somebody and work through it with them, and develop a relationship with your creator on your terms in a way that you're comfortable with, in a way that allows you to get peace of mind and walk a free man or woman for the first time in your life, possibly. Now, once you get that, then you can decide where you want to, a lot of us get back into organized religion or church of some sort. For my kids, there's a Christian church up the road my daughter goes to with my girlfriend, and it's great. It's very hands-off, very non-offensive. Take what you want, leave what you want. I have no issue with that. I think it's great. My son was going back to the Mormon church with his mom, and I actually have concerns about that. I don't want him discussing spirituality with anyone when I'm not there. I don't even... I know what they're going to talk about. I told him flat out, that's between you and me. I will help you with your spirituality. I'm your father. I will convey to you and share with you what I believe. And if somebody in that church is so bold as to sit down with my son and try to tell him what God is and what spirituality is, that messed me up. One of the first things in the step work that we do is sit down and write out the God and the attributes that were given to us. And then we list out on that same piece of paper, we draw a line right down the middle. On one side, God with all the attributes that they told us God was, right? We list those out. This is step work anyone that I was done with me with my sponsor, and I do with sponsees. On the other side of the piece of paper, you write out the attributes. If you could create your own attributes of God, what would those be like? And the comparison is a big contrast sometimes. This mean, angry, vindictive, judgmental guy that I was led to believe is my God from my upbringing, versus if I could have my own God, what would he or it be like? And those attributes are loving, kind, cool, nice, gets me, loves me, no matter what, helps me. And that's who I work with today. That's what's always been there for me. I didn't know, though. I was misled. I'm not going to knowingly walk my child into a scenario like that, like I was. It horrifies me. But some of these other churches, they're not offensive. So, again, Mormon church isn't all bad, but it does have areas that concern me, and that's what they are. I'm sure there's others, I don't know, but that's what's on my mind. I know this is a longer video, so hopefully you bear with it, and hopefully this helps you or somebody out there. That's the whole purpose. That's the goal. All right, thanks. Bye.